Hello, I'm Aaron Safi with the BBC News. The European Union's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, is reported to have told ambassadors that a post-Brexit deal can be wrapped up in days if the dispute about fishing rights can be resolved. In a tweet, Mr Barnier said the talks had to be given every chance of success. Nick Beake in Brussels has the details.
Michel Barnier was on his way into one of the buildings here in Brussels to brief ambassadors from the 27 EU countries. I'm told Michel Barnier told ambassadors there could be a Brexit deal in the coming days if an agreement is found on fishing rights. He also is said to have reported that the two sides are far apart on that key issue, but if there is a pathway, then everything else will fall into place.
The first Americans to be vaccinated against the coronavirus are due to receive their injections in the coming hours. Frontline healthcare workers, the elderly and other vulnerable people will be given priority. But despite more than 2,000 Americans dying every day from COVID-19, polls show that half the population remains unconvinced or isn't interested in getting the jab. An interim administration has begun work in Tigray in northern Ethiopia 2 weeks after the government of the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front was ousted from the regional capital Mekelle. The Ethiopian Prime Minister has also made a visit. Kalkidan Yebeltal reports.
On Sunday, Mekelle received a rare visit from Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, his first in more than a year and a half. He met with the generals who led the operation against the TPLF. With him, basic electricity and phone lines also returned to the city. The government is hoping today will mark the beginning of a return to normality as the interim administration orders civil servants to return to work. But the administration will face vast challenges, not least insecurity and possible public hostility. Despite declaring the fighting over more than 2 weeks ago, the government admits sporadic clashes have continued.
There's been a row in the Malaysian parliament after 3 MPs who were supposed to be in coronavirus quarantine, including the health minister, were allowed to turn up and vote. Mickey Bristow has the details.
The legislators were transported to Parliament by ambulance in full protective clothing, including face masks and gowns. They waited in a special room and then took part in proceedings from an empty public gallery. There was anger because they were supposed to be isolating at home after coming into contact with people with the virus. Many opposition MPs walked out in protest before the budget vote, which was passed. The current Malaysian government has only a slender parliamentary majority and is holding on to power by its fingertips, and so every vote matters.
Mickey Bristow reporting. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. Russia has denied it was behind an alleged hacking on internal email traffic at the US Treasury and Department of Commerce. US officials have confirmed that a breach occurred. The US Cybersecurity Agency has ordered government departments to disconnect a popular computer network tool, SolarWinds Orion. Russia has carried out a successful test of its latest heavy-lift rocket after a 6-year delay in its development program. Officials said the Angara rocket blasted off from the Plesetsk cosmodrome without a hitch. The former Liverpool football club manager Gerard Houllier has died at the age of 73. Reports said he'd recently had surgery after years of heart problems. He's revered by Liverpool fans for winning 3 trophies in 2001, the UEFA Cup in Europe and the FA Cup and the League Cup in England. He also won top-flight titles in France with Paris Saint-Germain and Lyon and coached the national team. The death of John le Carré, the former spy who became the greatest espionage novelist of the last century, has prompted worldwide tributes. He died of pneumonia at the age of 89. Charles Haviland reports.
One of John le Carré's characters called the spy world a grey place with half angels fighting half devils. Tributes have stressed that more than spying, his novels were about men and women, appealing, as his agent Johnny Geller put it, to everyone interested in the human condition. The American author Stephen King called him a humanitarian spirit, while Britain's Robert Harris said John le Carré would still be read a century from now, long after others were forgotten. Though his ambivalent portraits of the espionage world sometimes upset professional spies, the head of Britain's Foreign Intelligence Service, Richard Moore, called le Carré a giant of literature who left his mark on MI6 through his evocative and brilliant novels.
BBC News.